Welcome to our Mighty Meetup for November. Hello, everyone. Head over to the chat as you're joining, and we're just going to talk about end of year goals. What do you have on the docket between now and the end of the year?
I
And
always remind people this time of year is like 3 weeks, maybe four, if you're lucky. It's come
he's
to a
he's
close.
he's here for the positivity, you guys.
Yeah.
Not trying to make us feel rushed. I was just going to say, last meetup, I think, is when you said there was 9 weeks left, and that was rude. So,
Yeah, just trying to be
a
real
day off.
here.
Perfect. End of year plans are a day off. That sounds great. Yeah, any big goals you guys are working towards? Is there a project you're finishing up? Let us know. Maybe nothing. We have, I'm sure we're gonna bring this up at the end, but we have a mighty end of year course that's gonna come out. So our team is working on that right now. Ooh, Mike, new hire orientation for 3,500 employees. Ooh,
Wow, that's awesome.
yeah, that's a big one. Nice. You'll have to give us a update on that as you're finishing up. We're going to get started here in probably just 1 minute, just letting some people join, the rush in between meetings, and then we'll get started. Buy a new mouse. Joy, that's hilarious. Your mouse on the fritz. All right. Looks like admitting has kind of slowed, Pinkster. So if we want to start, we can probably get into it.
Nice. Yeah, that sounds good. I'll go ahead and stop our music. John from Mighty here, excited to walk through a lot of fun new features with our Mighty Meetup. As a reminder, we do this fourth Tuesday of every month. We will do one in December. I know it gets close to that end of year for everyone. I believe it's the 23rd. We'll see that on a slide here soon. So we love to walk through just, hey, what's been new with Mighty over the last month? What are we working on to give you guys kind of a sneak peek since we don't really have like an official roadmap we do. We kind of more or less just talk about them here. It's what's hot and exciting for us to work on. And that's usually what we talk about. A lot of the things that we demo off here as coming down the pipe are things that we'll release in the next month or two. So super excited to walk through that, give you guys an opportunity to ask any questions that you may have in regards to either the new features. We also do have a spotlight that we do. This actually jumps between community spotlights, where anyone in the community who's been building something fun and cool wants to show that off to others and give inspiration to things that they've been doing. We would love that. We also turn internally to our team and talk about some various things. And in this one, we're actually going to talk about the MC challenges that are coming down. Super excited to finally roll that out. As we know, as I've been looking around in the dev space as well as you see in the L&D space, there's a lot of like challenges, monthly challenges that are happening. So this is cool to see a Maestro version of that. And we'll have Sydney and Kendra really talk through what that's all about. We'll dive into some Q&A. Again, could be general, could be about the MC Spotlight, or just general Maestro things. And then we'll just dive into a product demo for really anyone who's maybe not been a part of Mighty before. You've heard about it, but you've never used it, and you're just kind of curious about what it's all about. That's where we'll just walk through a high-level demo of some features, functionality, how to get access to all the documentation, and where we've got all the features laid out there. So we'll walk through that with whatever time is remaining. And this one's going to be packed. There's a lot of fun stuff that's happening over here in Maestro Land. Um, so first, let's just talk about some new Mighty features. We've got the reflection download block. I'm wondering how many of you threw your own personal confetti in the air when you saw me release that. As I know a lot of you guys have been waiting for the functionality with the reflection block to now be cumulative across the course. So I'll walk through exactly what that's about with the reflection block and then how you can kind of connect those up with a cumulative reflection download block. I also want to touch on Rise's new managed blocks feature that they released Thursday of last week, and talk a little bit about our plans to start to like migrate some of our functionality into more of their core functionality now that they are starting to move on a lot of the cool things that we've been doing really over the last year or two. So we'll talk about the managed blocks feature and what to expect there long term. I also want to mention autoplay for audio as well as video thumbnails. Those are starting to come with interactive blocks. So I'll give you a little sneak peek on that. So if anyone's been wanting to be able to autoplay audio in like a process block or a tabs block or labeled graphic block, it's coming. You're about to be able to do that, as well as replace video thumbnails for a lot of those more complicated interactive type Rise blocks. And then we'll dive into global styles and then a really cool update coming down with interactive HTML block. So wow, even just reading that list feels like there's a lot happening. So super excited to start walking through those. Let me go ahead and jump out of this. I'm going to share my screen. We're going to walk through the reflection download feature real quick, just to give you guys kind of like a preview as to how that works. So for those of you familiar with Mighty, we've got a list of blocks, and maybe I'll just even randomly add one here. So this is under our Mighty Blocks library. We've got a reflection block where really you can just ask open-ended questions to your learners. You can ask multiple questions in a single location. And we've always had this functionality where you could allow the learner to like type in their answer, hit a download button, and it would give you a really generic PDF. There was a new release recently where you could actually now even upload a PDF template and you can map your questions to parts of a form fillable PDF template, which is super cool, but still kept you very isolated into a specific block within a lesson. You weren't able to go through and, ask questions along the way. So you've got two questions up there, then you've got another question down here. And you're just kind of like going through all of your content and as they're learning different things, you want to collect thoughts and feedback. I'll just name this question 3 just so they're not all the same. And then you get to the final end of your course and you're like, all right, well, I want to accumulate all of those into a single download. So that's where we've got our new reflection download block. With this block really allows you, let me go change the background because that'll bug me. Um, that will allow you to get all of your reflection questions that were from above mapped in. So right here, you'll see like, here's all the questions that we've asked throughout our course. And then you can either just have this be the generic PDF, or you could update this to be that custom template. And as maybe you've seen before, you just drop in that PDF template. And then what that does, and here's an example of that. This is just a form fillable PDF template. You can brand it and you can do all of the things that you want to do. And then what you're doing inside of this view here is you're just mapping out either the course title to a specific part of that PDF template or different answers based on the questions that have been asked. So that's super cool to be able to take advantage of more of a cumulative experience as opposed to making them download several PDFs and then try to have them like zip those up and submit them together somewhere or whatever. You can now actually just have them all cumulative. So super fun. Sid, I see maybe there's some chatter in here. Is there any questions maybe I could help address real quick before I move on?
I think this last one from Cynthia would be interesting to answer. Can you remove the download option from the earlier blocks as well?
Yep. Yeah, and I would totally encourage you guys to do that. So just in here in this setting, just turn off the download feature. As your learners are entering answers into these locations, and then they click out of it, just so you're aware of like how this works. As soon as they lose focus of that area that they're typing into, that's kind of when we save that. Another cool byproduct of the functionality that we've added, and actually let me go back out. We're going to go back out to like the main course. This is new for the reflection block, where before you weren't able to kind of preview an experience where you could like jump back and forth between lessons or cross lessons. But now all of that information is going to persist, meaning now I'm here in my third lesson. I'm going to answer some of these questions with some gibberish. And then I'm like, okay, I'm going to go back actually to lesson two and check out some things there and then jump forward to lesson three. And again, I'm just in preview right now. And you're going to see all of those answers that I've typed in are actually now persisting through, which is super cool because the persistence really only worked if you were in an LMS. So if any of you don't really deliver content in an LMS, maybe that's more for standard formal training and you've got another system, maybe you host them on the web or host them where else, you can actually still use the reflection block and it will keep track of all of your information as you're going from lesson to lesson to lesson. And then as soon as you use the download feature, it's able to pull all those across all of your different answers that you've had. So a lot of fun ways that you can leverage that. Um, Content is being sent, can be sent via XAPI statements. If you've got an LRS, all that just happens based on how you publish out your course. If you publish it for an XAPI, it will use XAPI statements to do all that. So yeah, you can certainly take advantage of all that as well. Trying to think if there's anything else. Local storage, yep, it's done through session storage. If you're familiar from a technical perspective, we don't send any of the data to Maestro. All of it's done local in the browser. There's two paths. There's a local storage, which maybe you're meaning that entirely, which means you could close the tab and reopen the tab and it would actually still stick around. And we did not leverage that just in case if you have shared computers and things like that, we wanted to make sure that that data gets cleared out accordingly. So it's more of what's called session storage. So as soon as you close the tab, anything that the learner typed in would get cleared out for you. Just a little bit better from a security perspective. So we thought of it all, they say. Uh,
Pinkster, did you see Kara's question just about if somebody goes back to add more to their reflection?
Yeah. Yeah, great questions. Yeah, if we go back in here and you type in more information, this is the latest that gets stored. If you're using this in an LMS with SCORM, the way that we update this is that we actually update the interaction that gets stored in your LMS. So you're not going to see multiple versions of this. For good or for bad, it was our decision to really not pollute the amount of data that's available from a runtime interaction perspective with work in progress. Because again, it's the learner just tabs out of it, and that's what would end up saving it. So as you make updates, all that will save. If you're using XAPI, we use a feature called void. So you can actually have iterations of statements that previously get voided out as they make updates to those. So yeah.
Awesome.
Um, the best way, Katie, to answer your question about losing progress when they leave and come back, because I had mentioned it's all based on if you close the tab or not. I would say if you have it in your LMS, that's the best way to long persist this information because it gets stored in your LMS's database either through XAPI or SCORM 2004. So that's where I would suggest if you need something for more like a web deliverable and not an LMS, then I would suggest you jump into more of a power up situation where you could update some code to have that be more local storage, persistent. But again, think about from a security perspective how you want to best store and secure that information as it really just kind of sits in the browser on the domain. So quick and dirty answer is put in an LMS, you'll be good to go. That will persist for a long time, basically as long as your registration lives. So. All right, I'm going to move on. If there's more questions, maybe others can jump in and answer those in the chat.
Yeah.
Because I want to chat about the manage feature. So, for anyone who's noticed, Rise now has a manage blocks feature, which is incredible. We built our quick sort feature like a year ago, and I know a lot of you have been leveraging this. It's a game changer to be able to just quickly move blocks because everyone knows how annoying this experience was. With Rise's new manage block experience, they also now allow you to delete multiple blocks as well. So this is a great feature, something that we had been asked to do, but I really wanted Rise to like feel the pressure to do this and build out more of a robust feature. So kudos, they did that. So what this means for us, and as you've been around maybe with Mighty, we've been doing this for a while, that as we've inspired Articulate to add features that we've added to the ecosystem, we really start to shut down some of our functionality and migrate if there's missing functionality over there. So as an example, one of the things that a lot of you do with the quick sort is you right click it to get a block ID when it comes to power ups and custom code functionality. What we will do is we will probably over the next week implement the same functionality here. So you'll just right click on the manage block row and you'll see that same copy block ID. And then once that's out for a little while, maybe turn to new year, we'll just shut down our quick sort in favor of their managed blocks. So um, it's a great opportunity for us to just like pave the way for where we've all wanted Rise to go, and then they can catch up eventually. And then cool, we can drop those features and jump on to bigger, better things. So this is another one of those fun ones that I've been chomping at the bit for them to come after and build out that feature. They finally did it. So now we can start to shut down some of our stuff and introduce more stuff. So that's the managed blocks feature. I also had mentioned another feature coming out, which now I'm going to switch you to more of our development instance here, where I've got some new features coming down. This one is around what I'm going to call slash Rise calls. These are their interactive block categories. So these are accordions, tabs, labeled graphics, process block, and I think that may have been all the ones we tackled. They all now have support. Over the last year, they've added more support for audio as well as video throughout many of these blocks. And for those of you who've been leveraging Mighty for just the standalone video and audio blocks, we have some features, aka mods, to be able to replace thumbnails or autoplay. So if there's audio in this course, which there's not as an example, but if there was, which actually I can just quickly add, um, you have the ability to autoplay audio as it comes into view. So um, we are now introducing those for more of these interactive block types. They're a little bit more complicated because they can have many audio or many videos. There's not just a single instance of those. So we've gone through and we've started to add this mod here. So as an example, like this block doesn't have any audio or video. Actually didn't have an example local to drag it in, unfortunately. Should have thought ahead about that. But you would see those same mods specifically the thumbnail mod for video. To us, we prioritize that first, just to get that out there for you guys, as well as for audio autoplay. So now with a lot of those other blocks, you'll be able to add autoplay for audio as well as replace thumbnails. Potentially some of our other video mods we would also add to this more complicated situation. But wanted to start here. Again, our nudge is like, hey, Rise, just add that as a part of your media experience to be able to replace thumbnails and autoplay audio. So hopefully, eventually, they get the hint that everyone wants this and they just add it natively, and then there we go. Because the authoring experience, especially with the mod stuff, is not ideal, but it works pretty well. So we'll get that out here probably in the next couple of weeks. So I'll be interested to hear all of you guys' feedback on that. As we've been testing, things work really well though. As you just jump between tabs, it does a good job of stopping the audio from one tab, playing the next audio, or even with labeled graphics and being able to open up the different panels. So all that feels pretty good. So that'll be out soon. Um, anything?
You just answered Jackie's question, I think, in your last sentence. So
Yep, nice. Oh me. Global styles. Okay, now we're getting into some crazy fun things that I'm excited to hear your guys' feedback on. This is going to be a new power up, and it's called Global Styles. And we just kind of have the shell of a lot of this built out, but I wanted to show this off because I think a lot of you are going to be like, praise Jesus. I've been waiting for this feature for forever. And this is going to save you literally hours upon hours of all the customizations that you've been having to do across all the Rise blocks. So the idea of this feature is that you want to standardize all of your typings, your typography throughout your course. as well as really just create a color palette. So that way, when you're in all of the different areas, like the rich text, and you're choosing background colors and text colors, like don't make me remember my Surface 500 color, which happens to be like a specific setting of gray. Just give me that ability to build out my color palette that I use inside of Rise. And then anywhere inside of authoring, this will be interesting if this works, fingers crossed, that you've got your styles, you would then see that to be able to apply it all over your course. So, like, we already gave you the ability to forget hexes with our color picker. And now it's like even further. You don't even need the color on your screen. Just pre-build all of your global styles and you're good to go. So like if you're excited about colors, wait till we talk about typography because typography is a mess. Like as you see, like fonts are all over the place. Like this is a 16 font size. This is a 17 font size. Like why are they different? We don't really know. But what you'll be able to do within our global styles, and again, a lot of it's not built out, so I can't really dive into this, but as soon as you enable this, we're going to have a pre-built out list of all the blocks that we are going to just automatically map for you based on H1 through 5, paragraph 1 and 2. And then you can create custom styles where you'll be able to actually like go through and build out what your typography should look like. And you'll be able to update the typing, like your font family, decide if it's bold or not, italic, underline, your colors, your line height, your letter spacing, and not to stop there, why not give you responsive typography? Boom. Like this is where we should have been long ago. So I'm super excited to be here because as all of you know, as you've been building courses, especially as Rise or as Mighty has released out typography that's like beyond 52 font size. Well, it looks great for desktop, but what am I supposed to do on mobile? Custom code is, super cumbersome. Well, now just create a custom text style, a custom global style for your types, and then apply that, and then just decide like, okay, well, on mobile, it's supposed to be 15. On desktop, it's supposed to be 24. Apply that to all of your blocks, and automatically it'll just like completely like a magic wand, just apply that everywhere for you. And then we'll just maintain that list as Rise makes modifications to what maps to what and whatnot. But and then last but not least, just like the color palette, like you just go in, you'll highlight some text, and maybe you've got a one-off situation. There'll be a new option in here that you just like apply the text style like a paint formatter would do in Word. Uh, so there you go. That's coming. Our hope is by end of year slash January timeframe for this all to be out there and available. We'll probably throw this out to our early access crew first, just to tease it out there, get some thoughts, feedback from people as you guys are building things out, and then we'll release that most likely by end of January. So stay tuned. That's going to be a game changer. We're super excited about that. And if I haven't wowed you yet, I'm about to wow you even more. I'm going to talk about our interactive HTML block. So the interactive HTML block, we've been doing this for 2 years. As many of you know, Rise released their own version of this, and it's their code block. I've stated this several times in community that if you're utilizing Mighty throughout your course, just know if you're publishing it to review and you use Rise's native code block, there are issues there because of the way we have to shoehorn Mighty courses into Review 360. They're virtually identical. Technically, we have more features and we're about to drop even more features. So like there's no reason to use Rise's native code block. Just use the Mighty Interactive HTML block. Because it comes with all the features that you have. Plus, I'm about to blow your socks off if they've already aren't off now, with this new feature. And this new feature, because we've heard from all of you and from our designers that I'm not a coder. Like I can like work with AI to build an interactive and it's cool. But then like, what do I do when I want to reuse this in other courses? Or like, I have a team who's like even more scared to use AI. It's like, how are they supposed to use this? So what we've actually done is we've built um, a way for you to be able to just provide a configuration. Let me go to my desktop here. I'm not going to really talk too much about the specifics on how you do this, but all you have to do with your interactive zip file is provide a config in there. And now you're going to notice there's this form that showed up. Well, this form is now essentially taking your interactive and making it a native Rise block. Like you have the full ability to just update labels and it automatically pushes into your interactive for you. So you don't need, oops, let me do the right station. You don't need anyone to get into code anymore. You basically just build your interactive. You can leverage some docs that we provided with AI and just say, hey, I read these docs, build me a form based on these docs, and it will build that out. Like that's, I literally did this in 5 minutes with one of our interactive, our team member did. It read our docs, it built this form, I dropped it in, and it's just like, boom, there's everything that I need it to do. There's going to be a whole set of information in regards to like how you implement this. There's going to be an interactive SDK that you'll leverage inside of your block. Don't worry about all that. Wait for us to kind of get some tutorial videos out there. We're going to host a lot of webinars that talk a lot about this, as well as we're really going to even just reveal what we're calling a Mighty Interactive library that will be a cumulative of what everyone's been doing in MC with our code catalog, but it is like the grounds to go if you want to find a pre-built interactive that's got all this form control in it. Our team's going to be building up a ton of interactives. So we're going to go from, the 30 blocks that you get today with Rise to you'll just jump into your Mighty block and there will be a new option here called Mighty Interactives. And there's this huge ecosystem of interactives that we've built that are fully manageable by the non-technical individuals. And there's a lot of threads that we're going to sew in there. So just stick with us as we keep doing more of these Mighty Meetups, because this is going to very, very quickly evolve, even to the point where what I just talked about with global styles will literally integrate with your interactive. So you don't actually have to maintain styles outside of your interactive itself. You can just import them from your power up. Like it's gonna blow everyone's mind. And that's coming again, similar timeline. This could bleed a little bit more closer to like the February timeline. But this is coming out very, very soon. At least minimally we'll have parts of this out there, if not all of it, um, quickly. We're pushing hard on this. So if you're asking for features and you feel like maybe we're not as responsive, know that this is the crazy stuff we're working on that you really, really want. So we'll address those other things later, but this is going to be a game changer for a lot of you guys. So, I've been ignoring the chat.
Mostly just excitement.
Great, perfect. Hopefully, some of you aren't sitting there and like this is way over your head. If it is the Q&A time, which maybe I even just open up some of that right now. Like I would love to start to kind of answer some unknowns, some questions, kind of where this is going. Hopefully, a lot of this has made sense. We're trying to make it super simple for anyone really to come in who's got either no coding experience or coding experience. Nate and I have also vowed to host or coding webinars to be able to do that, like a code school. Like all this is coming. We're going to be there for you along this journey. So super excited to really hit the ground running. I mean, this is my 2026 excitement. Like, let's hit the ground. And, yeah, I can't wait for all these vacations to be done so we can be back in build mode and getting you all this cool stuff. So,
Some questions have started to come in Pinkster. The one from John. So blocks like these will work properly even when the working file is shared. Oops, my thing just jumped. With teammates who don't have Mighty.
um, so if you're wanting to build an interactive, all the building functionality is only available inside of our interactive HTML block. Like obviously it's not going to work in Rise's code block. Um, so I'm not sure exactly if that's what your question was. Like you can build interactives and you can use them in the code block. All the authoring experience won't work. As I also mentioned, if you publish for Mighty, it maybe won't work there. But as soon as you publish your course, I mean, John, you know this, that all the functionality is like baked into the course. And whatever I entered here is what would be available to the learner via preview, via review 360, via published course in your LMS. So if there's something I'm missing on that question, let me know. Can certainly feel
No,
free to
that
even
makes sense.
you.
Thank you.
Nice.
Thanks, John.
What
Go
other
for
questions?
I think some of them are being answered by our team.
Yeah, Rive files. I've played with that, man, probably 6 months ago, and I got it to work. So Cynthia, I would love to maybe jump on a call with you because it's been a while since I've done that. I had someone tell me, I think it was with Rive, that they're like, well, you have to have the paid plan to do what we're trying to do. And I was able to bypass that because you don't need it hosted to be embedded. You just need, if I'm remembering exactly correctly, I think this is the Rive world. So feel free to hit me up and we can walk through Rive um, features. Rive, again, maybe I'm misremembering exactly what it is, but more or less, it's a way for you to like create animated content, and it kind of has like a player that gets utilized. Rive has this SDK that you just basically provided a file and some configs, and it just like runs your. It's not really a GIF, but kind of a GIF experience of whatever you've implemented over in that Rive ecosystem. And honestly, just a part of our Mighty Interactive, maybe we'll just add that as a block. Just drop in the Rive file and you're good to go. Maybe some configs that we would just continue to build up over time. But that'd be a really easy block to add. So, cool. I'm like eating up all the time. I know we got to talk about the MC challenges. So I'm gonna pause on my world, throw it over to you and Sid, you and Kendra, let you guys chat about that
Yes.
before we open up general Q&A.
Hey, while I'm getting my screen pulled up, Jennifer was wondering, she asked in the beginning kind of about, and I think you mentioned this at the end of talking about global style. Global style is just like the paint functionality. So she was thinking if there was like a really interesting font size combo that she liked that she wanted to put somewhere else in her course.
Yeah.
That's possible then, right? Not the global aspect, but just like copying one part.
Yep. So that's in where in global styles, you would just create a new type and then it would just be available now in the RT for you to start applying everywhere. The beauty of that too is that let's say you've implemented it across, you know, 5 different lessons, 10 different blocks, whatever. And you're like, I need to make a tweak. Like I want to update the color just slightly, or I just got branding feedback. Well, I'll just go to the global style and update it, and it immediately applies everywhere. So, I mean, it's going to be a game changer for all of us who have been like spending hours and hours and hours, and we get feedback from a client. It's like, okay, I'm going to bash my head up against the wall for a minute before I have to go spend 3 hours changing some colors. It's like, well, just apply that as a color, um, and you're good to go. So,
Awesome. Thanks for diving back into that.
yep,
All right. You guys can see my screen?
yep,
Sweet. So, like John mentioned, we wanted to talk a little bit today about MC challenges. Something we have gotten requests for over the years, are just like ways to stay accountable with your creativity and pushing your work. And also just to like see more of what other people are doing and creating and how they're thinking about things differently than you are. And then also, when we did that collaboration with Tim Slade earlier this year for a challenge in his community, we got a lot of really positive feedback from you guys that you really enjoyed jumping into a challenge, seeing other people's work. And so it kind of kicked us into gear to pull a challenge space into Maestro community, which is something we've wanted to do for a long time. And it's live. So we had like this little bit of a renovation in Maestro community. And one of the spaces that is new is under this Get Inspired tab over here on the left. We've talked about really good Rise courses. That's in Get Inspired. There's also Maestro resources. But now we have this space called MC Challenges. And it's kind of how it sounds. We're going to do this probably every other month ish. where we're going to post a challenge for you guys to jump into and participate in with other people in our community. We want to make sure these feel really approachable and doable. So we're not going to have them be, typically, they're not going to be very long, like a full course. They'll be kind of like snippet based, where you can do something a little bit smaller that won't take weeks and weeks of your time, but you can like jump into them, hopefully more of them throughout the year. But if you are in community and if you aren't, I have a link in the chat for them. But I'll add it again after I'm done talking through this. But you can go to that space. There's a How MC Challenges Work card where it dives into the details about how submissions work and what you get for prizes and recognition, which, by the way, this is so relevant to Mighty users because if you win the particular challenge, you get a $50 Visa gift card, but you also get a free year of Mighty. Woo! And obviously, you want to see how you're using Mighty in these. So the first one is live right now, which is why I asked Pinkster if we could talk about this a bit today. This one is all about a design tune-up. So Amy created kind of like a before course or part of a course. So it's just like a short lesson. And then we're asking you to take it and renovate it however you would to make it look nice, to make the content pop, to make it a really impactful and engaging learning experience. So if you're interested in doing this, all the details are in this space in the first MC Challenge #1, Design Tune-Up, and it is due next Friday, December 5th. We extended it a little bit just because of the holiday. So jump in and share your work with us. We're going to have a really fun, we're calling it an after party. It'll probably feel kind of like Mighty Meetup, where we're going to meet on December 10th, talk through the courses that were submitted. We're going to hopefully have the winner on there talking about theirs and just kind of have a good time. So I hope you guys will consider participating in those. They're going to be really fun. And like I said, you could win a free year of Mighty, which would be awesome. And so today we're going to have Kendra walk through because we had one of our very own go through this challenge too, just to kind of like kick it off and share some work. So I'll kick it over to Kendra and
Yeah.
let her share about her MC challenge for this month.
All
Hey,
right.
Sid, real quick, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Um, do they get like a copy of the course to start as a base, or how do they get started?
Oh, yeah, that would have been a good thing. It's all in that card too. So there's a link to grab the before course. And then there's also a link with like the style sheet, the logo, and then sample instructional content. So everything you need for that before is included in that card.
Hmm, nice.
Yeah.
Just basically look at the review link and then just recreate that on your own.
Yeah. And then you submit your before and you submit your after.
Nice.
And talk, you could submit like a work out loud video if you wanted to, just kind of talking through what you did, but you don't have to. And then our team will pick a winner and yeah, they'll get that awesome prize.
Nice.
We had a lot of people in art school. If you guys participated in art school or not, we have a live workshop in there that has challenges and got such incredible feedback about how fun it was to just see what other people were doing and how they were thinking about it differently than you might. So that's another benefit of not only the challenge, but the after party is just kind of like getting exposed to how your fellow learning creators are approaching problems like that.
Nice.
Yep.
All right. On that note, I will share my screen and show you all the nice little pieces to this. I have all those links that we just mentioned up on my screen, so I can kind of walk through those too, just so you can see the type of things that you are going to be receiving. So when you download those assets. So this is kind of like that sample little rough design course, gives you the basics. It's like easy, no design changes have been really made to this. So this is a thing that we want to level up and really fix. And then this is the style sheet. So these are the brand elements that you're going to want to stick to. The logo up at the top. We have like an SVG file of this included too, so you can incorporate it into your course however you like. We have 5 different colors with the hex codes included, and then the fonts to use too. And these fonts are conveniently already in Rise, so nothing you have to download yourself. So that makes life super easy. And then we did supply the storyboard too, so you can just copy and paste this content too, since we aren't sending out the actual courses. But I just wanted to walk through what I ended up doing for this challenge. I thought it'd be really fun to take this challenge on just because typically, I mean, I think a lot of people have probably seen the really good Rise courses and all the work that we love to do there and creating our own unique brands. And oh, a hotel brand, this one would be so fun, or a restaurant, like these dream scenarios. That aren't always the most practical, but I think Northbridge Consulting really grounded me and like this is a practical brand that I would probably have to work with myself, or a lot of you probably are working with brands that look like this, where maybe the fonts aren't so decorative, or the colors, it's just a few, or it's all in one color scheme, like all blues. And, you know, you make your 50th course with this brand and you're like, what else is there that I can even do here? Like, I'm just so used to this. So that was really fun for me to try and push this with Mighty and then use some of the other newer Rise features too. So I want to just kind of scroll through everything I did, and then we can kind of dissect little sections of it if anyone has any questions. So you can see I have used lots of familiar little Mighty things like customizing the note block, using transitions, using lots of big headings and all of that, styling the text nicely, using that line height and all the spacing options, more of those transitions. I love gradient backgrounds, so that's always a thing that's being used here. Can't say no to those. And then just, it's very nice and short. I think that was one of my favorite things about it. Like Sydney said, I didn't have to put in a ton of time, but it really inspired a lot of new ideas for me, which I wasn't really expecting. So something that I love to do, like creating some kind of intro at the top that kind of just grabs your attention. So we did have that logo, so I wanted to use that. And I actually used the Mighty little arc transition to kind of reflect the elements within the logo. I wanted to do a little bit more, but since I didn't want to put a ton of time into it, I thought this was so easy and quick. It's just like one click and there you go. And I put a subtle gradient in the background too using Mighty. So that was really nice. This isn't totally Mighty focused, but I imagine I'll have some questions about this one. So want to just dive in real quick and talk about what I did here. I actually used the custom block, and I think this was easy to make just because all the other Mighty stuff is so quick for me now. It's just like do that it saves time for me to actually start playing around with things like custom blocks and making my own layouts and stuff. So if this wants to load somewhat quickly, I can just show you how I set this up. I put all my text over on the right side, and then I took a stock photo, rounded out the corners using all these little formatting settings. And then something fun that I started experimenting with were these animated icons, which our team is now super obsessed with, and I feel like we can't get away from them. There is a link up here. It's called Lord Icon, I think is how you pronounce it. That's where I got all of those. And just sprinkled them throughout the course, changed the colors out to match everything, and had a lot of fun with that.
Thank you. Somebody did ask about that before you got.
Okay, I haven't been looking at the comments yet, but I figured there'd be something
Yeah.
around that because, yeah, I didn't know any of that was possible. I think me and Amy got the idea from someone else in MC actually. So they inspired that. So that was really fun for us to get inspired by that. But another little area that might have questions is this little continue. So I use the continue button, and then using Mighty, made the background just more of like a transparent type thing rather than having that like big old continue solid color background on the button that we're so used to seeing. And it just makes it feel so more like minimal and less Rise. And then I did add a little icon up at the top so that when you do preview this, it does kind of gate the content, but this is kind of seen as one like holistic little piece. So again, another example of those custom blocks, just another type of layout. So this is one piece where I put the text in. I'll actually jump in and show you. It's probably easier than trying to explain it. All separate little groups of all these elements. The text is formatted the same each time, the photos as well, added in those little animated icons, and had a lot of fun with it.
There is a question, a
Okay,
general
yeah.
question.
Like, let's see.
Well, first they were wondering if Lord Icon is free. I can't. Oh, never mind. I think some people are asking that, but we're answering that. But Charisse was wondering if you already knew what kind of layout you wanted to use for this, or if you kind of sourced your inspiration from somewhere else.
Um, I
To get
think
started, what that process? I know you love a mood board, but I don't know if you did a mood board for this.
I didn't do a mood board this time. It was an interesting process because I didn't take my usual process because I was like in my head, I want this to be as like fast as I can make it just to see what I can do in a short amount of time. Um, so I do think like these layouts were kind of inspired by what's already in Rise. So they do have kind of like some templatized versions in these custom blocks, which click something in my head like, ooh, I can go off of this. I don't need to build this from complete scratch, but like this gives me an idea to move off of. Same with kind of this. I think the 3 column grid I'm so used to using. But that one can be frustrating just with like the spacing. Sometimes it doesn't line up how I want it to. Once I upload my images, I'm like, this isn't the right size. This doesn't feel right. So I think I use things that I'm usually using, but just tried to elevate it a little bit more.
Awesome. Thank you. There,
Yeah.
Nan did ask a follow-up to that, just if you usually play with layouts on the go or if you plan the layout first in Figma. Like I said, I know you love a mood board, so
I do. Yeah,
answer what
it
your
is.
normal process would be, I guess.
Yeah, it's a mix of both, I would say. So I usually do like to mood board, find little examples of inspiration. So, but never for like an entire course layout. I'll just say, ooh, I love this section. For example, like maybe I saw something that looked like this, screenshot it, put it in my mood board and be like, how can I apply this kind of general style to my course? Um, but yeah, I think for something like this, I wouldn't put it all in Figma. It is a more simple design that I don't think needed to be too complex or use a ton of colors and backgrounds. It's pretty clean in the background. I feel like when I'm using a lot of fun transitions and shifting the background color often, or using lots of like illustrations or something, that might be a time when I build a little bit more thoroughly in Figma. But yeah, this one I kind of was able to just go with it and see what just came out. I think I have a probably, I don't know. I think I have a pretty like trying to think of the word that I want to use. Not repetitive, but like I have my go-tos, I think, when I start any type of course. Like I'm always trying to make like an impressive like header image. Usually I'll do like a full width or something, or I always want the title to be large. And I know I'm going to take off that like Rise built-in cover page and header and all of that. So it can feel super unique. So I have my go-tos, like my list of things that like I just have to do this in all of my courses. So I think that really helps set me up to just move along and not have to build it out too much.
Yeah. There's a lot of like follow-up questions around custom blocks in general. I wonder if we do a
Mm,
little series on that in learning design space in MC. Because there are questions just about like accessibility with
yep.
the custom blocks. And then also Narissa just asked like about scaling it on mobile. And I know that's something
Mm,
that you're gonna be talking about in my store community soon. So I don't know
yeah.
if you want to dive into any of those, Pinkster, keep us honest on time. But if you
Mhm.
want to, you could. But we also will definitely follow up with some more content on that in MC.
Yep. I think I'll just say that is like a focus for our team of like how when we're using these custom blocks and trying to push them and see the value in them, being mindful of accessibility and yeah, do they work on different device sizes and are they responsive and all of that? Because that was our downside when we first were introduced to these custom blocks. We were like, these are useless because they aren't very responsive. How do we use these? But yeah, I think there are probably ways that we can do it. You just have to probably keep some.
Build for desktop only.
Yeah, right. I know that's usually my like something like this. I was like, since it's not in the challenge, like saying we need to make it like mobile friendly, I won't focus on that today. But of course, it does put ideas in my head of things that we need to explore a little further and things I'm just curious about. So, yeah, definitely things we're aware of. And Sydney, yes, I want to keep
Yes.
creating content and whatever else and sharing ideas about that.
Yes, Kendra already has a hold on her calendar to create another really good Rise course for that space that is all mobile, um, like mobile minded. So we'll have
Yes,
some
which
stuff coming out about that next year. But I'll just take some screenshots of these questions and we can uh,
yeah,
create some content for you guys.
perfect. Yeah, where are we at time? Got a few more minutes, but yeah, there wasn't too much I think that I wanted to talk about. Just added in more icons, made sure to keep things consistent. If I introduce one thing somewhere in the course, I always wanted to bring it back later on, but in a subtly like different way. So I brought one icon in, so I made the icons kind of appear throughout, using good hierarchy, consistent things. These little white boxes that are usually white that I unclicked to not be white, matching those colors so it's not different every time. Just subtle gradients on all the background so it just feels nice and smooth, all that stuff. So yeah, I guess I'll leave it at that. And that was pretty simple design, but fun to work with.
Yeah. So to wrap up, join MC challenges,
Yes.
submit with alongside Kendra. I know we already have a few submissions in. We have till December 5th, and we'd love to see what you guys come up with.
Yes. I know, because I'm getting so inspired by things that everyone shares. I'm like, give me more. I want to be inspired. So please join.
Nice. Well, thanks, Kendra, for walking through that. Um, I am wanting to be mindful. I know it's already 122 here Eastern time. We've got 8 minutes-ish left in this meetup. We also probably should walk through at least a high-level demo. If anyone could drop into the chat if you are new to Mighty and would like a demo, that would be very helpful because that will help me understand how much time to allocate there. And I also really do want to open this up to Q&A. I know we've obviously addressed a lot of questions along the way, but if anyone does have any questions, feel free to unmute or drop your question into the chat, and we'll go ahead and address those.
We do
Probably,
have someone who is new to Mighty.
yep, yeah, I saw that. I'll probably spend like a minute or two here. If nobody has any questions, we'll just start diving into our demo. For anyone who is planning on taking off, December 23rd is when our next meetup will be. And as I had mentioned, a lot of fun things that'll hopefully be released by then, if not pretty dang close. So, any questions at all? Going once, twice. All right. Well, I'm going to dive then into a demo. Let me go ahead and pull up my demo course here. Thanks everyone for joining who don't want to stick around for the demo. We'll see you in a month and look for messages from us in the Mighty community or Mighty user space around all these features. All right, so at a high level, if you haven't figured it out yet before getting here, Mighty, right now we've got a Rise extension that adds a ton of functionality into Rise, as you've been seeing. This is all just done through the Chrome store. So you can either just get this in Google Chrome store, either for Chrome or Edge. It actually works in both browsers. You can just install it from both locations. Once you install that and you're logged into your Rise account, you'll just see this fun little Mighty Assistant down here. And this is where you'll be able to like really leapfrog into a lot of these resources that we've been sharing. So as an example, we have a help center, and our help center, if you want to leapfrog into our YouTube channel, there's a lot of great video content in here. We post all of our meetups in here. We've got fun things that Kendra's created, recreating the Olipop website, how-to videos, tutorial videos of all our features, etc. On here, like walks through all sorts of fun guides. If you need help selling Mighty to your manager, there's an approval toolkit, frequently asked questions, power-ups, and then our power-ups, blocks, and mods features that we walk through. So lots of good content in here. This really has the list of most, if not all, the features that we've got to date. And if you need to get into like GDPR or the VPAT scores with accessibility and whatnot, like all that information is found here on that Help Center. We also have that Mighty community / Maestro user or Maestro community space. So Mighty users just delves you into that one specific space, but obviously there's all those other spaces that Sydney had showed off, which is great. Lots of good information that we share in there. If there's ever like an outage or if there's any sort of feature request or celebratory things, we drop a lot of that into those channels. So you can certainly get access to those. If you want to refer this to a friend because you love it so much, you and your friend could both earn $30 by doing that. So it's been fun to see people accumulate their whole annual subscription for free because they just keep referring it to everyone because they love it so much. So that's also here. You can refer that to a friend. And from there, once you've got Mighty running, you're in a course. This is where you'll start to notice all these like Mighty Magenta features show up. So anything from in the theme tab, we have an ability for you to be able to move the begin button. As many of you know, the begin button's typically just shoved up here. All of your learners can just bypass all the hard work you've written into your outline, and they just click the begin button because they don't care about it. Well, now you can at least move it so at least they scroll down past it and potentially read that. So you can certainly move the location of that. You can update the style of it and whatnot. And then we also have more of our power ups. These are like higher level, not block specific type things. So we've got anything from custom code where you can add in code snippets or write your own custom code, really gets into like some CSS, JavaScript. If you're intimidated by that, well, no worries. In the Maestro community, we've got this Mighty Code catalog space where you can actually go through and you can look for fun things on like, okay, maybe the labeled graphic and I want to reveal one at a time. So this feature here would allow you to just have it only load one labeled graphic item. Once you click that, the next one shows up. So like allow you to progress people through. So these are all done through code snippets that people in the community have just been making for content that they need to build on. And then because they love you guys, they want to give back and share that with the community. So you can find a lot of those here. I mean, there's just a ton of different um, code snippets or even interactives that people have built. So you can find a lot of those there. Or you could use AI to help you write code snippets or reach out to me because I like doing that as well. Um, we also have a published settings. This actually will go away because Rise now supports this natively. Another great thing that we pushed Rise to just support. They always did it for LMS. Now they also support it for web. So we'll probably remove this in the next week. So you can just ignore that for now. Just use their normal hide cover page. But then we also do have a feature where you can organize your content in Rise with a specific course title, but then you can just rename that. So when you publish it, it would just say Mighty instead of Mighty Demo because I've organized it in my folder structure that way. So lots of fun ways that you can leverage just like overarching features. And again, that's where the global styles feature will come into play, as well as many more things that we just come up with. So that's power ups. And then we get into specific lesson items. And in here, we do all sorts of modifications, anything from mods to existing Rise features, which I showed off this a little bit earlier, as well as Kendra alluded to. Like, as an example, the notes block. There's really not a lot you can do with the notes block. You just provide some text, you can provide an audio, and then arbitrarily you can just like change the background and then the style just starts looking different. But you have no control over that. So what we've done is we've really given you a lot of that control back with what we call Mighty Mods. So this is where you'd find a lot of those mods across a ton of different Rise blocks. I mean, back to this list, it's a big list. I mean, there's almost all of the blocks have been touched in some way by our team. And so you can turn off the background color or turn off that as like a default thing and change it to be some sort of fun color and create drop shadows and give it a border radius and like really get it to look like how you want it to look. Uh, and I'm gonna just make that white real quick. So you can also update the icon and replace the icon and move its position and lots of fun customizations that you can do to really make these look like what you want them to look like. And same with like the embed block, you can turn off the OGG open graph image to kind of make those embedded websites seamless, a little more seamless in your course. So tons of different mods that you can do. I'll let you explore those. And then when it comes to blocks, we've got a whole block library that we've introduced into Rise. Anything from an image comparison block, which I'll just switch to this, which allows you to stack two images on top of each other and show like a before and after type experience here. Um, and then we've got the reflection block that I talked about with the reflection download companion, transition blocks. I mean, this one's a great one if you want to apply some fun styles just immediately on your course without like leaving the tool and building these fun little transitions with a whole list of settings. So you can like really get it to look and feel how you want. Um, so all that just really done in the tool. So as you saw, like I just added this cool transition in 2 seconds. So lots of fun with the transition block and reverse hotspot. This is kind of like a labeled graphic, but really allows you to test the learner on an image. So in this example here, we've got an image of like what makes a good collaborative environment. Well, everyone needs a snack. So snacks are good. Coffee is definitely a must. You got to have someone up on a whiteboard. And there you go. And then they can go through and take that again. You could also choose like um incorrect targets. So like let's say they chose wearing a collared shirt. Boo, nobody wants to do that. Unless you like collared shirts, but I don't. So wearing a collared shirt, no go, and give feedback. Like your attire is optional. Well, wear clothes, but dress attire like that's optional. So lots of things that you can do there, which is fun. Reverse hotspot's a good one. And then we've also got the multiple choice block, fun way to capture data to your LMS that you can't normally do with knowledge checks, as well as a little bit more like individualized feedback and just a lot of fun features there. And then last but not least, that interactive world that we're about to just really blow the roof off with our whole Mighty Interactive space and being able to pull those into the interactive block, all the fun configurations that I kind of walked through at the beginning of this. So all that's coming here soon. So um, yeah, I think that was probably the fastest I could walk through what Mighty is. If anyone has any questions on that, we certainly have other meetups that you can go back through and watch more demos and kind of get experience of what people are doing. Watch some of the other YouTube videos where Kendra walks through building stuff in Olipop, and she really walks through a lot of those different features that she's leveraging Mighty for. The MC challenges are going to be great for you to just get a little bit more exposure into what people are doing with Mighty to really supercharge their Rise courses and really make them stand apart from other content that you've been creating in the past. So appreciate everyone being here. Like I had mentioned, we'll be back December 23rd with a whole fun set of features coming out. So super excited to see where the year ends this year as we roll into the new year. And really excited to be creating with you guys on all sorts of fun things from MC challenges to these Mighty Interactives. So appreciate it. You guys have a good rest of your day. And for those celebrating Thanksgiving, have a good Thanksgiving. And we'll see you in December.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.